All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started in reading our chapter of the Odyssey today. The title of our chapter is Traveling into Disaster. I'm going to read the first couple of pages with you, and then we're going to discuss it. And then I'm going to have you to read the last two pages individually. And then we're going to come back together for a teacher model. All right, so it says Traveling into Disaster. Odysseus left Troy with 12 ships full of weary, homesick men. The wind was in their favor, but they weren't carrying enough food and water for their journey. When they came to the city of Sissones, they went ashore, killing all the men and taking what they needed. It was a stupid, greedy attack, and the sailors made it worse. When Odysseus ordered them back to their ships, they refused to obey him. They just finished fighting a long, fierce war, and they wanted to rest and feast. Ignoring Odysseus, they butchered the sheep and cattle that they captured and barbecued them on the beach. As they worked, they broke open barrels of wine and shared and started drinking steadily. By the time night came, they were all incapable. They slumped down into the sand and fell asleep beside their dying fires. It was disastrously stupid. All right, so as I'm scrolling, I want you to pay attention to the images that the author used and start to think about how this may tie into the theme. While they sleep, the Cyclones were creeping around in the hills, gathering reinforcements. At dawn, a wild army came sweeping down from the hills, looking for revenge. Odysseus' men were woken by the clash of spears and the rattles of chariot wheels. Leaping up in a panic, they snatched at their weapons, but it was too late for them to form a battle line. They had to defend themselves at as best as they could, fighting hand to hand all over the beach. They held out until evening, when the Cyclones overwhelmed them, slaughtering more than 70 men. The others ran for their ships, exhausted and terrified. They scrambled aboard frantically, hoisting the sails and hauling on their oars. It was impossible to recover the bodies of the comrades. As they could do, all they could do was call out a sad goodbye as they left them behind on the beach. And there was no chance to rest once they were out at sea. As soon as the land disappeared, a great storm hit them, blackening the sky and ripping their sails to pieces. Raging winds blew them off course, driving them past Cythera into the river of the ocean beyond. For 9 days, the storm howled around them without stopping. There was nowhere to land. Dense clouds hid the sun in the daytime and the stars at night, and even Odysseus couldn't figure out where they were. On the 10th day, the wind dropped suddenly and the sky cleared. They found themselves sailing beside a strange and beautiful shore covered in thick vegetation. It looked completely uninhabitable. Uninhabited. Drop anchor here, Odysseus called across the water. The 12 ships anchored side by side, and the sailors lowered their boats to take them ashore. This time they were much more cautious. Odysseus looked around warily as they landed, and when they were all watching, they were all watching out for enemies, but nothing moved except the leaves rustling in the breeze. By now, they were desperately short of food and water, but this time Odysseus didn't send them inland. All right, I'm going to stop right here because my timer is getting ready to stop, and then we're going to pick it back up.